episode. I mean, it's Halloween-ish. It's not, but it's on the date that's near Halloween. So,
Brilliant.
yeah.
What an intro that.
I mean,
Tenuous links.
I'm trying. I'm really trying because we have got some Halloween-themed thing. But for example, I'm not dressed up. You know,
I am.
I'm not dressed up as
That's
sexy
brilliant.
Brexit or anything.
You told us to.
Sexy
Dress.
Brexit.
Wait, have you not seen the sexy Brexit costume?
I saw like the Post Malone one and things like that, but sexy Brexit.
Sexy Brexit is a fantastic costume idea. If anyone's still looking, although the weekend's gone, so unless you're a student, you're
Tomorrow
probably
night.
not
That's actually Halloween. So
yeah.
good
See,
old Tuesday.
I'm going out tomorrow night, but not as Halloween, so it's awkward.
Not as Halloween.
I'm not dressing as the actual commercial.
Right, Dad.
You know,
All
yeah,
right,
exactly.
don't give in to capitalism, eh, Phil?
That's the correct attitude. Oh well, you've probably heard them, but allow me to introduce them. A man who, by his own rights, is very spooky. Is Michael? Say hello. Oops.
Hello.
Oh, nice.
Well, you call me spooky, and I have no idea why.
Yeah,
So
not spooky. And the Swedish thriller that is Elias. Say hello.
I have a
Copyright.
sore throat. Yeah, I have a sore throat, so I can't do the high like Michael Jackson's scream thingy.
No. Well, stick to the low stuff. Actually, no. Stick to the high stuff because we're going straight towards the top of the league to have a chat about the second versus third big game, Manchester United versus Spurs. Seems like the obvious place to start, considering it was 0-0 for about 80 minutes. Yeah, this is probably the most anticipated game going into the weekend, and I think we pretty much agreed before this last week when I think we had a little chat about this. This was going to be a scrappy game, wasn't it? And good, it turned out to be. A like tit for tat sort of affair. I mean, I'll go to you, Michael, because or I know who wants it. I'll put it out to the floor, to the scary floor. Halloween.
Who wants what?
Who wants to talk about this game?
Well, I thought you were gonna make some points, but alright.
I can make some points.
I'm going to steal it off you because I've seen very little of the football admission this weekend, but this is one of them I have actually seen, so I'm going to talk.
Good. Start off strong.
Yeah. A typical Mourinho performance. That's it. There's no other way to put it. It was Mourinho's plan, and it was executed pretty much perfectly.
Spooky silence after that. I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll go to Elias.
It's just like I've seen so many Manchester United games this season because Sweden, of course, wants to broadcast every single
Loves
Manchester United game because they love Zlatan. So even if he's not playing, they just want Manchester United in there. And I'm just bored every time I watch them, pretty much. They're getting the wins, they're getting the goals, but it's just not interesting. It's just a win.
Yeah.
It's not entertainment.
No, I think that's fair. When you go back to the start of the season when United were winning every game 4-0, this seems a completely different team to that one. Admittedly with injuries and stuff, that's fair enough.
They're also playing versus like bigger teams now, if you say.
True, yeah, stronger teams, yeah, teams that are going to give them a game. So, Mike, you said that you thought this was a typical Mourinho performance. I kind of disagree in the sense that I thought Manchester United were actually more attacking, like actually created chances. If you compare it to the Liverpool game, for example, I think Man United were. Whether that was because they were at home, I don't know. Do you not agree with that then, or do you think that's just sort of Spurs' shortcomings the reason they had so many chances?
Yeah, to some extent, I do. But I agree with your point that it's at home. I think you do have to show a little bit more of an attacking intention. But it was very much, while Manchester United were set up to obviously attack, probably with pace more than anything. I still feel that Manchester United were also set up not to concede in this game. Which is that's how I refer to Mourinho performances. Play against a big team, we're not going to concede this game, so we're not going to lose it. And then it obviously turns out, majority of occasions, whether it is intended or not, to be almost a smash and grab, where they're not I'd have said Spurs were the better team in the game.
You think?
I do. I think. Well, I wouldn't have said like it sounds strange because, but I don't think it's contradictory. Spurs were never look like the team to win the game, but Spurs were more in control of it.
Mm. I get that.
Which is why I refer to it as a Mourinho performance. In that Manchester United never controlled the game, but they were never going to lose it, and it was a smash and grab. They got their goal late on. No matter where the goal came, Manchester United were always going to sit on the goal from after it came. If it came, if not, they'd just take the draw. Because of the position they're in, it's no loss to them.
Fair enough. I mean, I feel like with City, I feel like you have to, like, Mourinho can't sit on draws for these games anymore. I feel like he has to go for them, and I think it's kind of a healthy mix of like both our points. Kind of is probably more accurate. Like he definitely he was happy with the 1-0. I feel like Mourinho would have been happy with the 0-0 in terms of the game, but like in terms of the actual title race, I feel like he would have been like 2 points dropped really.
Well, I tend to I'd agree with it. In the bigger picture is that it's 2 points drop on City, who are the best team in the league, but it was also stopping a Tottenham team which were in very good form, just turned over Liverpool 4-1, who Manchester United it was a goalless draw, and then obviously United the week before got beaten relatively convincingly by Huddersfield, and then obviously the week before only got a draw against Liverpool, so they weren't exactly coming in on form. So like, yeah, I understand from the bigger picture it's they needed to get that so they stay within 5 points of City, but I think bigger picture, Mourinho probably was seeing it as, I don't want to lose this game, because then if they lost that game, they really were out of it.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea were poised to overtake them. Even Arsenal would have been poised to overtake them. So it's, yeah.
I feel like, yeah, I get you. I'll go on to Elias because we'll talk about the goal in a minute. It's very scrappy. We'll talk about that, but we'll talk about the teams because obviously both teams coming into this with relatively big injuries. Obviously, Fellaini and Pogba have been missing for a long time for United. Spurs have been without Kane now. What did you think of the lineups, Elias? Do you think perhaps Pochettino should have started Llorente and had more of a target man and play like they did against Liverpool, or do you think he made the right call with Son up front, creating a bit more movement and free flowing passing moves sort of thing to try and keep the ball and get the ball forward that way?
I thought Pochettino was actually going to start with 2 up front instead of the usual 3-4-3 or whatever they're playing right now. Like Son didn't really do much, I feel, in that game. He was absolutely amazing last game, but with Llorente and Son playing up front together, I think that they would have had a better chance to actually get that goal. Because I can see that those two working together pretty well, with Llorente being the target man and Son being more of a running behind striker. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed when he brought out the same formation, because I thought he'd have something new against such a big opponent. But on Manchester United's side, I think that Mourinho is just really happy that Phil Jones is like he's back in fitness. It wasn't a long-term thing. He was not even out for a game. He was on the bench against Swansea, but didn't play, I think. I just think that Mourinho is really happy with that.
What do you think about Mourinho's what do you think about Mourinho's going to a 3-back and going with Rashford and Lukaku almost up front as a front 2 this game rather than Rashford out wide?
It's just like they got Chris Smalling, they got Bailly, they got Phil Jones, and they just got like strong players back. So I feel like just they can put anybody up there, and they would probably do a job with Lukaku. So yeah, I just don't think that Mourinho. It doesn't matter for Mourinho who he picks up there. I think they're all doing a pretty good job when they play.
All right, well, we'll talk about the changes. Michael, I'll come to you because Martial coming on, obviously the change again. We talked about Llorente and Son perhaps playing up front together. Llorente came on for Son, which was kind of frustrating, I think. And kind of took all the pace out the Spurs side, and that's when United started to take charge. But the Martial change, obviously the important one, because he did get the winning goal. And Yeah, I mean, what did you think of the goal then? Do you think like who's at fault? Who are we gonna pin the blame on, or was it just a fantastic goal?
Oh, I can't remember who would be pinned.
Basically, Dyer was at fault. There you go.
Oh, right. Hang on, I can't even remember. I genuinely can't even remember. I remember it being like a really scrappy goal.
It was Lukaku knocked it
I
on.
remember us discussing it yesterday, though.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, Lukaku knocked it on, and then it sort of just went behind Dyer, and Martial got between the two defenders, and Dyer had no idea who he was.
I think this is going to link to the point I was going to make previously, and it kind of links in with this as well. It's Dyer starting at centre back, and I know you questioned it. It's not something you like. It's not something I particularly like either. Why was Sanchez dropped to the bench? And it's just going back to Elias's previous point about Pochettino's decision. I think it was maybe a bit gullible in starting Son up front, in that he didn't think Mourinho would have sussed out what they did against Liverpool last week with the use of Son. So really should have changed something in regards to that. But no, in regards to the goal, you're saying Dyer's at fault. Dyer's at fault. Like it's, I trust you as a Spurs fan. I genuinely can't remember.
But we questioned the Sanchez not being picked. Obviously, wasn't picked midweek. Was on the bench, so that was questionable. Yeah. But wasn't picked in the midweek game against West Ham, where Spurs fell apart at 2-0 up and lost 3-2 in the end. A result of that game, 2 Spurs fans have actually been banned for throwing urine at West Ham fans, which is which was in the ground. There's actually a video of it on Twitter. If for some reason you want to see a man
caught because of that video.
Yeah. But hey, 2 episodes, we've had 2 mentions of urine on away fans as well, which is nice. But yeah, Chelsea away next for Manchester United, and I think that will probably be a bigger test than the Spurs game, because Chelsea, I mean, their last 2 games in the league have been completely different. They obviously had the Watford game, which was a barnstormer, and they're this one against Bournemouth, Elias. And I'll come to you because you've been critical of Bournemouth, but I feel like when Chelsea went 1-0 up, Bournemouth had a little bit about them.
Like you say that, but Courtois made 1 save in that game, and yeah, I just felt like we were in control pretty much the whole time. I didn't feel like they were threatening, like they were going forward, but I knew it was Bournemouth without Joshua King, so I wasn't really like worried. If they had Joshua King, though, I could have seen them probably scoring 1 or 2.
You would have been a bit sloppy. Butt clenched.
Yeah, we were a bit like sloppy before the goal, and probably should have scored another with Morata, with Begovic making an incredible save, to be honest, and Morata trying to put it first post for his first chance.
Yeah, that was unlucky.
Yeah, it was smart. It was smart. But
I think he's just a bit rusty there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just jot that.
Oh man, when you were talking about the Martial goal, all I could see was Hazard's goal in my head. And I couldn't remember. And I literally remember us sitting and speaking about it yesterday. I was trying to piece our conversation together to try and remember the goal.
Well, Hazard is becoming very important for Chelsea. So hey, that's good. That's good. I was trying to just go back into podcast mode there, but I feel like you weren't ready. So that's okay.
I didn't know whether you were in podcast.
No, I was trying to get back into it, but then I was like, nah, they're not going to fall for this. So I'll just go back into it.
It sounded like you were in podcast mode. So.
I was trying to just get back into it and just edit them, but it's alright. Okay, yeah, so alright. But Bournemouth, Callum Wilson coming back now from his injury. I believe he scored midweek, did he? I think, and coming off the bench here in this game, he'll be a big boost for them, considering, like you say earlier, they're having hard luck up front. They are in the bottom 3 now, and perhaps worrying. What do you think? Worrying times for Bournemouth, or do you think they've got? I mean, they have a decent run coming up. What do you? Obviously, Ellis, you've been critical of them, so I'll go to Michael. Michael, they got Newcastle, Huddersfield, Swansea, Burnley, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace the next few games. Do you expect them to pick up some points, or do you think do you think Bournemouth really are in trouble this season?
It's definitely an opportunity, and if if they show something that they've showed in the past two games, even though they lost yesterday against Chelsea, they could probably. There's not definitely an opportunity to pick up points, and it's an opportunity they've got to take. Otherwise, I think that's when they're in trouble. But Bournemouth have always been a really strong, compact side that plays very well together, and have overturned big teams, never mind little teams. And I think it's just a matter of time, maybe, before they get back to this that the Bournemouth of old. It sounds strange to say that because it's only like a year, but I think the time to worry would be after those results.
And if they're still down there.
Yeah, because like they had an opportunity to win last week and they took it. Previous to that, they've had really tough games. Even I think going back to Everton's that like the last game that you'd arguably say winnable, but Everton were in the same situation and have a stronger squad. So it's like, I think this is opportunity really for Bournemouth to pull themselves out of the bottom three and just prove that they're not what everyone's thinking they are.
Yeah, well, Chelsea got some big games coming up. We talk about Bournemouth there. Chelsea got some big games coming up. Away to home to Manchester United next weekend, but away to Roma midweek. And Morata might be happy going back there. Actually, go back to Italy because he has said he is missing life in Turin and is possibly finding it hard in London. So, I mean, it seems like one of those stories where there's not much actual like meat to it, sort of thing. I think it's more of something he said taken out of context, but you know, it's nice to talk about.
Maybe it's just not ease, but sort of Juve. Well, while it's not that at the moment, Juve usually sit top of the table, win every game, and even if they're not look like they're going to win it, pull something out the bag like sort of in the last few minutes. Whereas the Premier League's obviously a lot tougher than that.
You say that though, Juve not top.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Of course, Napoli are so, but I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with that, but it's probably a big transition coming from Turin to London, like you said. That's
true. But yeah, you mentioned Juve there. They're not top of the table, Elias, but they are the top scorers in the league above Napoli and Inter Milan, with 33 goals this season at the moment, I believe. Higuain scored for them this weekend in their win at AC Milan, and he actually became only the second player to score 100 goals in two of Europe's top 5 leagues, in La Liga and Serie A, of course. I'm going to throw it out to you. Who was the other player who scored 100 goals in 2 of the top 5 leagues in Europe? Any guesses?
Messi.
In 2?
No, he's only scored in Spain.
I completely messed up the question in my head.
Don't worry, you're going to have a chance to redeem yourself with the questions later. Okay. Any other guesses?
Zlatan?
Zlatan's correct. Yeah. Zlatan is correct.
Did he score 100 goals for Barcelona?
I don't know if it was La Liga. I'm pretty sure it was. Although it could have been PSG. I haven't done that much research. I have to be honest.
He wasn't there long enough to score 100 goals.
Yeah, I wonder, because I'll say he must be close to 3. Like, it could be 2. I don't know.
I mean,
I'd be interested to see the stats on that.
Well, Higuain 100 obviously for Real Madrid and Napoli and Juve in. So Zlatan Ibrahimovic
scored. No way he scored. He only played 29 league games for Barcelona.
Yeah, so he scored 100 goals in Serie A for all of the Serie A clubs apparently. Milan, Inter, and Juve, and Liga 1 for PSG. So
yeah, there
you are. That's in the 21st century as well. So like this could be. I mean, it's probably wrong because you got players like Crespo and people who've been all around the block. Yeah, so there you go. But we mentioned Bournemouth being in the bottom 3. Of course, who joins them after a 2-0 loss? Goodness me, it's the sticky Toffees losing 2-0 to Leicester. Wow, Leicester under Claude Puel.
Dimmy great.
Interesting. I mean, I was going to go to Elias because, well, I'll go to you first, Michael, because like you say, Dimmy Gray got on the score sheet and had a very good game, and he has Birmingham roots, I guess.
Thank you for mentioning it. Thank you.
I thought someone had to.
Yeah. But I think this is it. He's been given opportunity, obviously now to come into the first team, and he really took it. And it was just like it really highlighted how disconjointed Everton are. Because sort of Demi Gray gets past one player, and that's it. The whole field is open to him for the first goal. And then he played a wonderful pass in for Mahrez, I think it was.
Yeah, and then he played a great ball across to Vardy for the first.
Yeah, and I was just watching this game, and every time I watch Vardy, it's a player I just like love to watch. He works so hard, he's like so gritty. And there was a right at the end of the game, it was a pretty bad challenge. I think I'm trying to remember who it was by. It was like almost a two-footed challenge by. It might have been Jagielka, and he sort of just like gets up, like finds the ball, and the ball comes to Okazaki. In the end, he's still on goal, but the ref already blown up, and it's like he just doesn't stop no matter what happens. And I just, it's so good to watch. He's so gritty and like determined, and you can see how, like, if there was one player you'd say that personality will get you from the bottom league to the top, like it shows in him. And while I was going to highlight Demi Gray as being a key player in this game, like just Jamie Vardy is instrumental in every Leicester win, I feel.
It really makes me wonder. I know obviously he won the league with Leicester that season, but if that January transfer where he so almost joined Arsenal, if that had happened, what that would have meant for Arsenal and his career, I think it would have been really interesting to see.
He's so good. Like, he's just so... even when he's not good, he works so hard that it doesn't matter. But sorry, just to round off my point about Demi Gray, the second goal is obviously his, but wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't a shot. It was obviously a cross that got
the John Kelly finish.
Lovely. It's a Paul Konchesky.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
But it's I'm glad he's taken the opportunity. And Leicester are so good. Like, you can see why they won you can see why not that team particularly, but you can see why as a unit they won the title in games like that, because they looked really good in the first half yesterday. Like they really did look like a top class team. And like obviously they're still in the League Cup. There's still opportunity to push up the league. I'm sure Leicester fans would be delighted if they sort of finished 8th or above and got to like a League Cup semi or a final.
I think they just honestly want to see good attacking football, to see goals. Really, I think they've probably been enjoying what they've seen so far. But Claude Puel's come in. Ellis, I'll come to you because you were talking to me about how you're a big fan of his, and he's got a fantastic CV. What did you see any of his style in this Leicester performance, or do you think it's obviously it's early stages, so it's obviously going to be some remnants of the previous managers still in there in the counter-attacking press. Do you think this Leicester team will change a lot under Puel, or do you think he's just going to bring more and more out of them?
I feel like Puel is more of a I could say like player manager. He would well, not player manager, but like more
manager.
of a he works well with the players. And tries to, as you said, tries to get the best out of them. And they didn't necessarily look any different in this game, I think. He probably just talked to the players and the staff and see like what can we do different to make it like better for this game, and then next week we can do something more different and just keep on going like that. Because they looked more like the title-winning side, Leicester, than anything in that first half.
And they were brilliant.
I was really impressed that he looked like that for the first game, and I'm very optimistic about Leicester.
It's good to hear. Well, Michael Appleton, of course, wanted to stay on as assistant, even though he lost his caretaker job, and finds himself as assistant manager still. But Claude Puel has brought in his trusted assistant as well, so he's got 2 assistants, which is nice. Annoying, because I was hoping Michael Appleton was still in the job, so I could go with sticky toffee Appletons. Because I thought that was good. But hey, I got it in there anyway, forced in. Let's talk about Everton a bit, because I actually thought in the first half, maybe second half a little bit, I actually think with Lennon and Morales and no Sigurdsson or Klassen, I actually think Everton looked quite good going forward. Definitely compared to their previous performances recently. Admittedly, they didn't win the game and were terrible at the back, but still, there was some bright spots there. Maybe is that David Unsworth bring this out, playing these players, without pressure.
A bit of pace, a bit of determination, and maybe a bit of a lift in the dressing room, possibly.
A little bit of Monaco by my side as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a little bit of Morales by my side.
Yeah. There you go. From the Mombo number 5 to a 5-goal thriller at West Brom. Wanted to talk about Everton a bit more there, viewers, but that sort of transition came to me. West Brom 2, Manchester City 3. Troubling times for West Bromwich Albion. Do we think? Haven't won now since August. On a terrible run of form. We were tipping them for Champions League. I won't throw any names in there, Elias, but you were tipping them for Champions League in the earlier episodes of this podcast.
All right.
He's not defending. He's not denying it, viewers, is he? So.
Did I put in my league table?
You did.
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
I don't think the league tables that we did are relevant. So.
Well, we'll come to them later on. But West Bromwich Albion started the season reasonably well. They've got. I mean, it's a Pulis team, so it's obviously going to be a bit more rugged and then not as fancy as the Manchester City side. But is the lack of creativity down to Pulis completely, or is it the fact that players like McLean and Chadley just aren't performing and not getting in the side at this point? What do you guys think? Although they scored 2 goals here, they were very much from Man City's mistakes rather than West Brom's own making. Go on.
I just love that Otamendi mistake. his look when he sees his just messed it up is priceless.
Yeah, to my earlier point, I'll come to you, Michael. What do you think the reason is for West Brom struggling, especially going forward?
I don't know. I do think it is individual players not really being in form. And I know they had a good start to the season, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which obviously shows that it's there, but yeah, I think it's individually. I think the midfield's fallen out of form, which has been a key thing because it's just seeing them conceding silly goals and not creating much. And I think a lot of it's like Krychowiak's not really been much since he's come in. And it's just they set up so defensively that even if they do have an opportunity to create, they've not got the players to do it with. Like, it's not always going to be as smooth, things like that. And like I highlighted, McLean's not been on form and not playing particularly. So it's...
Has James McLean ever been in form?
I think he's got something about him.
I always feel like he's average as best. Like, he had a decent...
But that's West Brom.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I just feel like he's a player that he can't really reach higher than what he's actually doing.
No.
And
I agree.
I feel like he... Yeah, I feel like he's at his ceiling, but I feel like he was consistent, whereas now he's sort of becoming not a liability, but he's not reaching the levels of performance he had previously. And whether that's due to a change of the system or Pulis trying to accommodate players like Krychowiak and it's just changing the way they're playing, I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely some things.
Obviously they played with a 3-5-2, with disregarding Neom and Gibbs, and like even Gibbs isn't really an attacking fullback, but like their 3 across midfield was Krychowiak, Barry, and Livermore. Like nothing says goals about that whatsoever. Like nothing. That says, oh, we might not concede, but in no way does it say we're going to create something. So they're relying purely on some obviously wing play, which they don't have the quality of players like Neom and Gibbs aren't quality enough to dominate that, and they don't really have the dispatch from the back 3 either, being Evans, Higazi, and Macaulay. They're very much stopper centre backs. Than maybe Evans is slightly different, but you understand what I'm saying? And there's very little route for creation.
No, they very much rely on set pieces, I think, as any Pulis side does. But I feel like I can see what the frustrations are with West Brom fans, how they feel like they've had so many they've had so many seasons now in this league where they've done that. They want to move to that next level and actually watch entertaining football. And like you say, with that lineup, it doesn't ring, very, it's not. You're not going to get expansive football out of that. And I think that's probably very disappointing for them. But hey, I'm sure. I don't know if you were watching this West Brom side, who are, kind of not very fun to watch. Would you be happy just sitting in the Premier League every season? I mean, we kind of talked about this last week with like the mid-table teams, but it's kind of pointless. Is it not sort of frustrating?
There is got to be a point where they've got to move forward because the club is progressing financially. and in stature as the longer they stay in the Premier League. So there has to be a point where it's like a business. Football is a business at the end of the day. If a business is consistently making money or seeking new streams of revenue, which the longer you're in the Premier League you probably will do, they've then got to progress and see better results.
Yeah.
And at the moment, West Brom are going backwards rather than forwards.
Yeah.
And they're not transition. There's no transition either. It's not like, oh, well, we're trying a different style of football and it's not working. It's just West Brom are stagnant and they're falling backwards.
I think that's one of the problems, though.
Yeah.
The fact that money means they have to be in the Premier League, and that's why they still have Pulis, and they're not, like, the actual entertainment value isn't really important.
Yeah, Pulis is like, maybe it is a case of Pulis has overseen his welcome. He's done his job now. Like he and there's no more he can really do with the team like that. He doesn't have the the scouting ability. Maybe he doesn't know what players to bring in at this point.
Yeah.
It's just it is tough. It is really tough for West Brom fans. I think to highlight one thing that needs changing, because you can't change too many variables at once. I think we showed that at Palace. It just didn't work.
And Everton.
And Everton, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they've got to find the one piece to change, and a managerial change can always be very impactful. So.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Man City a bit, but hey, we talk about them every week, so we can just zip through this. Leroy Sané, Michael, you'll be very happy. You mentioned about worrying about him getting stuck on the bench, but is in scintillating form at the moment.
Yeah,
very enjoyable to watch as
good
well.
goal as well.
He scored some nice goals. Manchester City matching the best start to a Premier League season, 10 games, 28 points. Two previous teams to do that, Chelsea in 2006 went on to win the league, and Man City 2012 went on to win the league. Sorry? Just about. Elias, I know you questioned John Stones and Otamendi a couple of weeks ago. I know you've slightly mentioned the Otamendi mistake a minute ago as well. But let's just talk about that defensive partnership. Definitely showing some signs of errors and just perhaps not, just lacking a little bit of concentration.
I just feel like Otamendi is not the kind of defender to ever really concentrate. He just does really what he wants to do, and yeah, I don't know. It's just Pep is making them work together well, like decently well at least. They're not conceding that many goals, but it's just not two world-class defenders to me at all.
No. I mean, maybe Pep Guardiola thinks he can shape them into world-class defenders, and if they want to be world-class defenders, and Man City want to be world-class, they probably have to win the Champions League, and they're probably going for that this season. They got Napoli away in midweek. They got Arsenal at home next weekend. Big Super Sunday on Sky. It's going to be Manchester United and Chelsea, and Arsenal and Man City. A couple of big games there. But then we'll move to Arsenal and 2-1 against Swansea. Bit of a scare for Arsene Wenger on his 800th Premier League game as a manager. What do you think about this Arsenal performance? Did they get out of jail here, or was it always in control, really?
That's also for me. Like I feel like Arsenal should win that game every day of the week. Swansea have been showing some decent attacking performances recently, and looks like Tammy Abraham and AU are working together well. But Arsenal they're just more consistent, and that's what makes them win in the end. Like the first goal is pretty lucky. Like, it's good positioning by Kolasinac, but to get that shot through and to get the ball just to go there, it's just bit of luck. But I just feel like they deserve that.
Yeah, it's just another benefit of the five across midfield or at the back, or however you look at it. The wing backs are always going to get there late and create chances there. But Mike, you must have been very happy with Kolasinac's performance, because you love that man. Goal and assist, and you have him in your fantasy team, of course.
Yeah, he sort of rescued me a little bit this week after I didn't tend to my team and left Aguero in. But no, it's good to see that his qualities are being seen at Arsenal. Obviously, they were being seen at Schalke as well, but it's sort of being seen in a more documented league. Sorry. So he's good. He's very good. I think he really suits that Arsenal side well.
Yeah.
I think it was a good signing from Wenger.
Who would have thought that playing a player in his correct position would help him rather than playing centre back?
Goal machine.
Goal machine.
Is that his fourth this season? Third?
I think he's getting in there, isn't he? He's definitely got an attacking side to his game.
He's so strong. Everything he strikes is just like, powerful.
I think the fact that there's so many, like in the bottom half of the table specifically, there's so many poor fullbacks, especially on the left side. Like, so players like Kolasinac, and they get so much like headlines, like almost, and they're doing very, very well, getting a lot of attention. Unwanted attention for West Ham as they drop a 2-goal lead to Palace. Goodness me, West Ham looked good for the 3 points here. They played very well, and Mikel Antonio, why in the 97th minute he isn't holding the ball in the corner and decides to just chip it into the box for Palace to start a counter attack? Wow, that's a tough one to comprehend. Oh jeez, did you see Joe Hart almost in tears in the post-match interview? Just absolutely bemused.
So, because he was insane that game. It didn't look like they would score any goals, Palace there. Because, like, I don't know if it was luck or good positioning or whatever. He looked insane. He saved everything except those 2 shots. Actually,
yeah, he did have a very good game. But West Ham coming off the back of that fantastic performance against Tottenham, to do this and almost lose all of that momentum, surely it's got. You saw with that Joe Hart interview, it's got to just suck it all out of West Ham now. Like, how do you come back from this, considering like the situation with Bilic and the players and oh goodness me.
You say this though, but it's like West Ham have become a yo-yo. It's like, when is Bilic going to get sacked? Pulls the result out the bag and then it slumps again. And it's like pulls the result out the bag. So you're saying, well, it's going to deflate the West Ham players, but they will pull a result out the bag.
When?
I'm trying to think of the games they have coming up.
I can quickly bring them up for you, but we'll talk about Palace while I do that. Wilfried Zaha, he scored 50% of their Premier League goals this season. At this point, and he's played 3 games, scored 2 goals. I mean,
a missing article.
Yeah, it was a shocking counter. It was a shocking decision for West Ham to give away the counter attack, Antonio specifically, but he did really well wriggling in that box, and a very nice finish as well. He has been absolutely brilliant for them since he's come back from that injury, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I'd already said it, so I was like.
Well, we go back to these West Ham fixtures, and they have Liverpool next. If that hasn't got West Ham win written all over it, I don't know what does.
Exactly.
Goodness me.
If either of these teams were playing Liverpool next, I think it'd have been like, oh, they're going to win.
But what do you think this would... Sorry, go on, Alice.
Yeah, how many games did Carroll get banned for his elbow? Oh, actually, it was the second yellow, so it was only 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was extended to
it's
violent conduct, so I think he will... No, he was on the bench for this game, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think so.
Then Andy Carroll hat-trick against Liverpool, I feel.
We'll see. Chicharito got on the score sheet though, which we'll be happy about, Alice.
What a finish that was.
Yeah, very nice.
I don't know. I don't think he should have scored there.
Are you questioning Julian Speroni's integrity as a goalkeeper?
Yes, absolutely.
Well then.
It's like, oh, Julian, do your best impression of a shot goalkeeper.
But this is going to be a huge result for Palace. When you look back at the Chelsea one, this is just going to give them more and more confidence. And I don't know if you've seen the picture going around where it's the moment that Zaha equaliser went in. You can see Hodgson's reaction and Bilic's reaction in the same picture, and it's a lovely shot. It really is good. Look up that one. That was very nice. But we talked about West Ham Liverpool next weekend. Liverpool getting a big win in the battle of the best buds. At Anfield. Wagner and Klopp 1-on-1, and once again Huddersfield, it's a mistake that lets the other team in and they end up getting run over in the end. We saw against Manchester United, they made no mistakes and they got the 2-1 win, but then you go back to the Spurs game, they made a mistake, and here Tommy Smith's header to set up Sturridge. I mean, I think it's offside considering the first ball was played and he was in an offside position, but Huddersfield, they need to cut these errors out because it's starting to cost them, games where they probably get points out of now, and that's going to drop them close to that, closer to that relegation zone. And we said last week how much of a boost that Man United result would give them. This is probably just putting back down that the confidence ladder almost.
Yeah, and it's like after Liverpool missed a penalty or the penalty was saved, it's like the confidence should be up. They really could go on to at least get a point out of that game, and then it really is like all thrown away by a mistake and a goal because it just deflates them. It's like 0 to hero, hero to 0 even, and I think that's worse. Like loss aversion is worse because they're high at that point, and they need to stop. They need to stop it because it could cost them like life in the Premier League. It really could if things continue to happen. Because while it's not irrelevant in a game against Liverpool, they wouldn't have expected to particularly put this game down as a win.
Not so decisively.
Yeah, if they do it like next game against West Brom, if West Brom win that game 1-0 because of a Huddersfield mistake, that is probably 3 points dropped from their point of view because West Brom are in worse form than them.
Yeah. Did you see the Lovren stuff before kickoff? Was announced the Liverpool starting lineup was injured, quote unquote, in the warm up. There was some stories going around that perhaps he wasn't injured and was just taken out because Klopp didn't want to play him, but he also didn't want to be seen to drop him. So if that's the case, I think it's very actually, clever man management on Klopp's part, considering what we said about him last weekend.
Yeah, it feels a bit weird, to be honest. Like the whole situation. Why would you even pick Lovren after the? Like, I could just imagine the Liverpool fans' reaction when they saw Lovren was still in the starting lineup for the game.
Maybe it was one of them who took him out.
Like, is that good man management, or is that just because Klopp is getting?
I don't know. I think if that is what happened, I think it's you don't drop Love. Oh, well, maybe you do, because maybe if he's in on it, he knows you're dropping him, I guess. But it saves him.
In the 30th minute last game, of course you're going to drop him for next game.
Well, yeah, that's why I think it's certainly interesting. But as we discussed this, that how little options they have in those positions specifically.
Yeah, but I don't really see Ragnar Klavan as a massive improvement, and we saw that in the game. I think he was very almost nervous. Like the Swedish commentator said, that maybe he wasn't ready for it. He wasn't like, but if you're a Premier League player, you should be ready for anything, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's just above Klavan's level at Liverpool, to be honest. But it sounds awful, but the guy's relatively old. His career has gone past its peak, and he's now been thrown into the peak of his career at Liverpool, and it's like he's out of his depth a little bit. I feel like he wasn't signed for this, and it really was. I didn't sign up for this kind of thing. Yeah, it's obviously the biggest club he's played at the wrong stage of his career. I think for him, that'll be his opinion.
You've seen Liverpool's league positions over the last years, and you just thought he would join a mid-table club. And,
yeah. Just risking things with Augsburg a bit. Let's get to Liverpool and finish mid-table.
They've been linked with former under-21 captain Conor Cody. Under-23. Is it the Liverpool reserve? I think it was Liverpool reserves captain. So that's the under-23 thing. I can't remember. Anyway, I think they've been linked with Conor Cody recently. He was currently at Wolves, who are doing well in the Championship. Who are Liverpool going to sign to end this defensive crisis? Give me a name now. Go. Rio Ferdinand. What about you, Michael?
Don't know. Hegazi.
It's not a bad shout. Okay, so there you go, Liverpool fans. Rio Ferdinand and Hegazi to lead you to Europa League football next season.
They should have taken Zuma on loan instead of
Yeah, but would Chelsea loan?
Yeah, exactly. Would they have let him? Well, they're probably not direct rivals at this point, so.
Brighton 1, Southampton 1. Glenn Murray on the score sheet again, but I think Brighton will see this as 2 points lost considering Southampton's performances of late. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be happy with the draw, but it wasn't a particularly interesting game. I don't know.
It's exactly what I expected.
I mean, Southampton. Under Pellegrino, reports he could be losing his job soon. But it's interesting. We said about Claude Puel was giving. Sorry.
I don't understand why. I get that they're not being creative, but they're not exactly in trouble.
Well, yeah, I was about to say Puyol. I keep calling him Puyol. Claude Puel lost his job obviously for the lack of exciting football, but don't forget he got Southampton to that cup final, and I think they finished 8th. And you got maybe like the lack of attacking exciting football is because, I mean, I don't want to say it, but Koeman obviously was there before Puel, and now they're still going. Is it almost the players? Do you think the players are perhaps at fault? Because when you look at their midfield, they've got the likes of Davis still in there. I know he's played in this league for a long time, but it's not very exciting, is it?
It's not an exciting squad at all, and that's why I think Puel was sacked. Because when I see Puel, I see a man that brought the best out of Juninho at Lyon, and what a player he was. And I think he could do the same with Mahrez. I mentioned this to you, Phil, because I feel like Puel, he just brings the best out of the better players in the squad, and I don't feel like Southampton have got any really like decent players.
There's no talisman in the squad.
Yeah, that's it. There's no main man. Yeah, like you say.
Like what can you do with Charlie Austin? Like you can score a few goals each season, but you can't really make him messy, can you?
No. Well, they did have Tadic and obviously Buffal in the last game, but they've almost lost their shine now. They've been there so long. But yeah, Elias, I like your point about getting the most out of Mahrez. I really like the fact he played Mahrez in the centre just behind Vardy. Really, I thought it was a really nice.
It was smart, yeah.
If we see more of him, we could really see Mahrez adapt his play and become an even better player, which seems, almost crazy
Scary
at this
to
point.
think of, yeah.
Well, hey, that was Brighton Southampton. Watford 0, Stoke 1. Darren Fletcher with a very nice volley, although it took a bit of a nick through, but it was a very nice little corner technique. Obviously learnt that from Paul Scholes at his time at Man United. This also had a very nice Charlie Adam miss. I don't know if you saw. Rounded Gomez about 35 yards out. Agonisingly rolled onto the post.
I don't know why he doesn't like outside the foot. I'll try to take one more touch to the side. He's just so slow, Charlie Adam. So
he got round Gomez very well, didn't he, actually? To be fair to him. It was like Messi-esque. But I don't know why he didn't shoot from the halfway line, because that's what he tends to do.
Charlie Adam must top the list of footballers that don't look like footballers.
No, he's got a specific figure. Troy Deeney's been charged with violent conduct for trying to join the Faceless Men from Game of Thrones and rip off not Charlie Adam, Joe Allen's face. Quite disturbing scenes, almost, wasn't it? Really, it wasn't very nice to watch.
Troy Deeney smiling pretty much throughout the whole thing, and just his hands.
Psycho, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like this giant man grabbing this tiny boy's face.
Yeah.
Just.
I don't think Deeney instigates or anything though.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's the fact that it was the throwing, wasn't it, from an injury, and they didn't throw it back to Stoke.
But as in the clash, we'll call it, is all. Yeah.
Well, Joe Allen's come out now and said there was no hard feelings, so that's good at least. But
they're both hard men, aren't they? So
it's not it wasn't a very nice image, really.
Oh, I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
I'm sure you did.
Deeney was obviously well up for the fixture tomorrow. Well, the day after on TV. That's all.
I'm sure a man who's had Marlon King out front of his club knows. He likes that sort of thing.
I'm not PC.
We're not going to talk about Newcastle, Burnley Newcastle, because it hasn't kicked off yet at the time of recording, which is 7 o'clock on Monday evening. But yeah, it's probably got 0-0 written all over it. So we're going to watch that one now because it's obviously going to be 4-3 after I've said that.
Yeah.
European roundup, I suppose. Have some European footy for you lads, if you want. Do you want some European footy?
Yeah, sure.
Always. Give us some German.
German. All right, I'll hit that German league where it hurts, man. Bayern Munich beating Red Bull Leipzig. RB Leipzig. Should say RB Leipzig. 2-0 is the big fixture. And Dortmund
But
again.
Phil,
losing
what was the
4-2.
interesting result in that league?
The interesting result? Schalke drawing at home to Wolfsburg 1-0.
No, why? No!
Right, cut that out. I'm not having that. Why can you just said Hanover against Dortmund?
I literally just said that, but
What?
you interrupted me.
I know, because I was trying to lead it on for you, and you just had to mention that Schalke didn't win.
No, they didn't. But hey, there you go. There you go. So that's your German roundup. Does that put Bayern top of the league, Michael? As our expert?
You know it does.
I do know it does. But yeah, so a good weekend for Bayern and Jupp Heynckes, which is definitely his name. A good Serie A weekend for Napoli as well, who also won again, and they're now 23 games unbeaten in that league, which is
I've got an
a
interesting
decent little
thing
record.
about that though.
Oh, go on. Please share.
I got a little something.
You got a little something.
So, I forgot what I was going to say.
Good.
Oh yeah, did you know that Dries Mertens has just a 26 million buyout clause?
Yes, I didn't know that. Thanks for bringing that up because I missed that.
Or I thought it was 26.5 million or something like that.
Is that
I'm pretty
pounds?
sure that-
It's 30 million euros. Maybe.
He's also 30 years old. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah, like in the form he's in, just like
me and Lennox were saying earlier. We actually, I said, I don't know if I can't remember if he agreed with me, so I don't want to throw him under the bus. But possibly the most underrated player in Europe at the moment.
You said that because you read it somewhere.
Yeah, true. From my
Well, he's
many
the
sources.
host for that reason.
Yeah, I just steal other people's stories. Like I'm going to steal this one. Benevento sit bottom of Serie A. 11 games played, 4 goals scored, 29 conceded, 0 points. What's
a shame, really.
What's your thoughts on that one? Lost 5-1 to Lazio, which we don't want to get into Lazio considering recent things. Bit unsavoury, but hey. Also, we mentioned AC Milan 0, Juventus 2, but it's turned into a good little title race up there down there in Italy, I should say. So you want to go
just involved in every goal for Lazio.
Who's that? Sorry.
Immobile.
Probably. I think he's got 14 goals in 11 games this season. He's the first player to ever do that.
Yeah, well, it's like it seems like every time I hear about Lazio, it's like an assist by, and then the goal by. It's just like
he's definitely in the form of his career.
He's got 6 assists with those 14 goals.
That's not bad.
And 1 yellow card.
He's been linked with someone in the Premier League, I think, and I can't remember who it was.
That's
West Ham.
That's literally 60. That's 66% of Lazio's goals this season he's been involved in.
It's crazy. Doing
Decent.
very well. Valencia, second in La Liga, still a good 2-1 win against Alaves. Atletico Madrid held at home 1-0 to Villarreal, but that wasn't the most surprising goal of the game of the weekend. The most surprising game was Catalan giants Girona beating Real Madrid 2-1 in what can be described as Ronaldo not being very good at football. What's happening there at Real Madrid? Because, goodness me, it's kicking off.
8 points adrift now.
8 points adrift.
And they've never won the league from 8 points adrift.
No, 2 teams have though.
Oh.
Barcelona have done it twice, and Valencia have done it once.
Well, as you said yesterday, Phil, Valencia to win the league.
Could happen. You know, Messi could start listening to offers in January.
I love how you said that to me yesterday, and I went, no, you went, well, who's going to win it then? As if there was nobody else. Well, like Barcelona sat 4 points ahead of them.
Wait, what are you on about? Didn't say this.
Yesterday, you said to me, Valencia to win La Liga, and I went, no, and you went, well, who's going to win it then?
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
Well, I can't for the life of me see Paulinho winning the league title, so I'm going to have to stick with Valencia on that one. But hey, we'll see what happens there. Plenty of time for the boat to rock at Barcelona. But yeah, hey, could happen. Should we go to our friends in Liga 1, the PSG, as they were Neymar-less this weekend?
Is this part of Neymar Natter?
It's getting there. We're on the way. We are on the road to Neymar Natter. We're on Highway 35 of Neymarville. They beat Nice 3-0. Cavani getting 2 goals. So that's good for him. Not so good for Neymar because they hate each other's guts. Angel Di Maria back in the starting lineup though, getting 2 assists. So that's good. Lille's still struggling in the bottom 3, losing to Marseille, and yeah, really, really bad. Really, Dijon beating Claudio Ranieri's Nantes as well. So, hey, always one to bring a laugh out of Michael.
Yeah, you toppled off Ranieri's run there last week. You give in the mix a curse.
I mean, they're overachieving, let's be honest, so they can be happy with what they're getting. But a good 2-0 win for Monaco against Bordeaux as well. But PSG, Neymarless, of course, because of his suspension. The Neymar Natter, ladies and gentlemen, a special Halloween edition. It's not spooky or anything. He just said he misses Barcelona, apparently, to some of his close friends. Apparently he misses Barcelona. And was speaking about Messi and Suarez as his brothers, as he met them the other day. But yeah, apparently regrets his move already. So, hey.
Man, after trying to sue them for I don't know whatever it was.
He's such a little snake.
Out of Champions League. Yeah, he's a snake.
He's such a little snake.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go. Well, what a roundup,
He also
hey?
congratulated Hamilton on his championship win, though. So maybe a move to Mercedes in the summer.
Could happen. Could happen if they pay his buyout clause. It could happen. So
F1 is not a real sport.
No, it isn't.
Carry on. Just go. Don't stop.
Well, Lewis Hamilton, world champion, English. You know who else is English and a world champion? That's right, England,
All
the under 17s. Every single person who's under the age of 17 has won the World Cup.
Well, aren't half of them actually 17? Because it's when yeah.
Well, I think it's when qualifying starts.
Qualifying
is when you
starts,
become eligible. Yeah. But hey, fantastic win. I managed to
Yeah.
watch this until Spain went 2-0 up and then fell asleep. Then England came back to win 5-2. So that's good. The future's bright for English football, eh, Michael?
Yes.
We excited?
The future is bright. Can't wait for the FA to ruin them all.
Well, Jadon Sancho, of course, wasn't in this game because he had to go back to Dortmund. And, of course, didn't play this weekend. Wasn't even on the bench. So, hey, missing a World Cup final. I mean, it's not his fault, to be fair. It's Dortmund's fault, but still feel a bit, it's a little bit funny, isn't it, really? Yeah, so England looking good at youth level. Let's hope they can turn that into some serious stuff. Phil Foden, the Manchester City attacking midfielder, has not got an agent. If you're interested, Michael or Ellis, give him a couple of phone calls. Yeah. But Pep Guardiola has spoken of his admiration for the youngster, and maybe we'll see him in a Manchester City senior shirt soon. Maybe even this season. Who knows?
He's already made his debut, hasn't he?
Oh, is he? I wasn't aware. Was that in the League Cup?
I think he's played. Yeah, I think he's played once.
Hey, well, there you go. Just a sign of things to come, perhaps. Shall we move over to the funny / interesting stories?
Yes,
of
let's
this?
move to that part of the running order.
Let's get to that part of the running order. I'm going to start. Do you guys know of Albacete? Yeah.
Are they a Serie C team or Serie B team or something?
Well, they are a team. In Spain. I'm not 100% on the division because I haven't done that much research. But Mariano Bitolo required 10 stitches to his penis after a freak injury in Spain's second tier. There you go, second tier of the division.
PG-13.
It was sliced open by his teammate Roman Zazulia. So there you go. I'm not sure if it was on purpose. No, I don't think it was. I think he kicked there or something. But hey, 10 stitches in your manhood, in your crown jewels. What could be more exciting than that?
What?
There you go. There you go. Have you guys got any stories you wanna add to the?
Oh, Phil, I've got a brilliant one for you that you're really going to enjoy.
Yeah, go on.
It's on your favourite man, Mick McCarthy. So, Ipswich won 2-1 at the weekend at Burton, with Selena coming off the bench to score at 89th minute winner, to make Ipswich 2-1 winners. And the fans were chanting for him to come on the pitch, but Mick McCarthy claims he wasn't influenced at all by that, quoting in the East Anglian Daily Times, a very reputable source.
Read that.
I don't give a shite about that, by the way. He didn't go on because of that. Just let me clear that up. In fact, there's more of a chance of me not letting him go on after they start telling me what to do. Yes, I am a belligerent fuck. Let's just clear that up.
That's nice. At least he's honest.
Well, it's not something he'd say to, like, what's it called, like the Football League show? I don't know what it's called these days on Channel 4, 5.
Pretty sure it's called the Football League show, is it? Football on 5. Football on 5.
Football on 5. I think it's only something that's acceptable in the EADT. Or sorry, the East Anglian Daily Time.
Well, there you go. Mick McCarthy. Who knew he added it in?
McCarthy.
But there you go. There you go. Do you guys want to go to the 9th tier of English football by any chance?
Not particularly, but I'm sure you're going to take us there.
We can. I think we will. In fact, let's head down to the depths of the English footballing pyramid. The North West Counties Football League is where we're going to go, and Paddingham trailed Widnes by 2 goals in the 92nd minute. I don't know if you've guys seen this video floating about on social media. You might have, yeah. It was a lovely comeback. 2 goals in about 90 seconds to bring it to 3-3.
I know the video, but I didn't know it was those two teams.
Well, it was. So there you go. Some names to the faces. A fantastic video and some just real football joy, really. The fact there's only 170 fans in the stadium.
Quality finishing.
Yeah. Oh goodness me. Because Crystal Palace could have. Well, that joke would have worked a while ago.
That move where they hit the bar though was pretty good.
But yeah, it's fantastic. That's what football's all about.
You have to put that on our Twitter now, Phil.
I can't copyright infringements.
Oh.
But do you want to stay in the English non-league? Because I've got something else that's quite interesting. You know Salford, the famous Salford team. Their goalkeeper Max Crocombe. This is going to be the 3rd mention for urination in 2 episodes. So can we try not to tie us all with the same brush? But this happened this weekend against Bradford Park Avenue. He was sent off for urinating during the game. So, hey, Max Crocombe. Can we have a round of applause for him?
I love the quote though from him. It's like, "Oh Max, what do you think of you sent off?" Well, I was only having a piss.
Oh, we missed reading out the quotes of the Everton fan who punched the Lyon goalkeeper. Goodness me, there were some crackers in there. Unfortunately, we missed the boat on that one, but that was a hilarious interview. I recommend reading that one if you haven't, gents. And hey, what do you know? It's time. It's time for the Halloween game.
No, it's not.
Trick or treat is here, ladies and
I've
gentlemen.
got a story first.
Let's go.
Sorry, I apologise. I'm getting too excited. I apologise. Go on. Go on.
Killed off the excitement.
He's got a story for us all, ladies and gentlemen.
I've got a story of your favourite English pundit.
It's all about me. Garth Crooks, go on.
Oh, this is Paul Merson.
So, Garth Crooks apparently said that Aspilicueta needs to tell Bakayoko to come to work suitably dressed, which is really not in his why would he say that?
Why is that Aspilicueta's job?
I don't know. He's because Gary Cahill isn't there. He's of course the captain now.
Right.
But what has he said anything about Pogba's hair?
Yes.
Ever? Has he?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then it's a bit justified then because. Okay. Well, yeah. I just felt like it's such an unnecessary thing to comment on.
Yeah. Garth Crooks does that.
Why would footballers need to be suitably dressed if it's not affecting their performance?
No, true.
And dressed, using the word dressed for a hairstyle.
He's a questionable man. I know in Sweden you don't get final score, the BBC goals show. But if you ever do manage to catch that Elias live, and Garth Crooks is one of the pundits on there, please give it a watch because it's interesting.
Yeah, this is something I caught now when I was looking.
I think maybe Garth Crooks is the name we'll have to keep an eye out. Because I feel like maybe Elias, do you want a Garth Crooks corner every week? Because I feel like you could have one if you wanted it.
Yeah, I can find one every week.
We'll make Garth Crooks corners coming at you, ladies and gentlemen. Next week it starts. Make it happen. We need a few more corners, then we can actually have a. Because at the moment we've just got a line with the Neymar and the. It's kind of you can't really have corners with only 2 things. So Michael, you need a corner, preferably not Birmingham or Schalke. But hey.
Okay, fine.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But hey, it's time for Trick or Treat, ladies and gentlemen. Play game music here. Nice. Thank you very much. No, you don't. Because I was going to do that, but I didn't write enough questions. So
you get candy.
You do not get candy. There's no prizes, guys. Just personal pride at stake. So
it's usually mine that suffers as well.
So the way the game works is I ask you a question. A treat question is about one of the clubs you support. A trick question is about your bitter rivals. So there you go. So a treat, you have the option. So I'll give you a question with 2 answers. Get one of the answers right, you get 1 point. The other one right, you also get 2 points at stake. But the trick question about your rivals, there's only 1 answer. which is worth 2 points. So, a possibility of 10 points up for grabs here, ladies and gentlemen, for each one of our. And if it's a
Does the
draw,
question
you're
get
just going to
passed
share the
over?
spoils. No.
If there's oh right, okay.
Why would it get passed over?
I don't know. I might know
You're-
lots about Swedish teams.
There you go. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. We shall see. So, Ellis, you're going first. I hope that's okay.
Okay, well.
And you're going to have a
Didn't even get to pick.
You're going to have a treat. It's alphabetical. You get to have a treat question first, Elias. So I'll read you the question. A point for each of the questions they ask. So here we go. You ready? Are you both ready for Trick or Treat, the game show with a twist?
Yes.
Ready.
Okay. So Elias, your first treat question. Last time Chelsea played on Halloween, the 31st of October, for those who don't know, was against Liverpool in 2015. But can you tell me the score and who Chelsea's manager was?
God damn it. Well, it must be Mourinho in charge.
It's Mourinho in charge. He's got 1 point.
And I feel like I know this game. It's giving me a bad feeling, so I'm thinking loss. And I'm thinking a 2-1 loss at home.
It's a 3-1 loss at home.
Ooh.
Oh, he's so close.
God
But
damn
1
it.
point. You get the point for the Mourinho one. So,
Wait, wasn't that the game where Ramirez scored really early on?
yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay. I know that game. Yeah.
So, Michael,
That's frustrating.
your first treat question, and one that is definitely not copied with the scores and manager changed. Last time Birmingham City played on Halloween, the 31st of
Yeah.
October, for those who don't know, was against Wolves in 2015. But can you tell me the score and Birmingham's manager at the time?
In 2015, it would have been Gary Rowett.
Oh, he's there.
The score. I can't. I genuinely can't remember. I don't think Birmingham probably won it, so I'm probably gonna go for 2-1 Wolves.
It's 2-0. He's so close. You both got so close, but hey, you get how the game's going. You get how the game's going. Elias, you've got a treat question coming up. You ready for it?
No.
Okay, he's not ready for it, but it's coming at you anyway. Unless you want to ABBA it, and we'll go A, B, 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 A.
No,
A.
it's fine.
No? Okay. Elias, also not copied and pasted from the last question. Last time AIK played on Halloween, the 31st of October, for those who don't know, was against Orbro. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What?
Orebro? Orebro.
Örebro.
Örebro.
I thought you said the Orbro, which is our shirt sponsor.
Well, that team was in 2015, but can you tell me the score and AIK's goal scorer / Z?
In 2015, you said.
It was Halloween 2015, correct. Which, looking at this, was probably a Saturday, considering they're all on 2015.
In Örebro, I was at that game because it was in Örebro, that's close to me. And October. In 2015, Örebro had a good season, so I'm thinking it's a draw because we haven't really lost against Örebro, and I'm saying 1-1 with 2015. It's either Igwan Anike or Henok Goitom, and I think it's Henok Goitom.
Oh my god, he's got it! He's got both! He's got both!
Oh no.
Oh my word.
Oh
That is
my lord.
that is unbelievable.
It's lucky because I go to all the Örebro games because they're really close to me, so I remember them all.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That is lucky.
Thank you for that one.
Michael,
If
do you want to
Based, it's gonna be.
guess your question?
Is it who Schalke played?
On
And
Hallow-
who's the manager?
The last
Or who
time
scored?
Schalke played on Halloween, the 31st of October, for those who don't know, was against Ingolstadt in 2015. But can you tell me the score and Schalke's goal scorer / Z?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with like all our games at Ingolstadt just ended disappointingly, but I don't want to say that Schalke didn't win, so I'm gonna go for 1-0 Schalke, and actually I'm gonna go for Leroy Sané.
Oh, he's got the goal scorer, but it's 1-0,
Oh.
I'm afraid. It's only 1 point, but he's still
really?
in the. That's a good shout, isn't it? It's a
That's
good shout.
embarrassing.
No, I don't think so. It's a very specific game. Against
No,
a
but
team
as in
that-
Schalke not being.
Oh, right. Okay, so Ellie, 3-2, going into your final treat question. So you ready for this one?
Yes.
Sweden have qualified for the playoffs of the 2018 World Cup in Russia, but can you tell me who played the most amount of minutes for the Blåguld?
Either it's a goalkeeper, Robin Olsen, or it's Granqvist. I think it's Granqvist.
It's Robin Olsen.
Oh my
no!
no! I thought because he started every game, our goalkeeper, but I thought Granqvist also did.
Do you want to get the bonus point of amount of minutes he played?
How many games did we play? 10? So 900?
900. He's got it.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh, 990.
No,
No! Oh, no! I'm sorry.
but why isn't there no... Oh my god.
No. 990.
Elliot you should have just gone 900 and pondered for a bit. And see what...
I thought there was like extra time added as well.
Not on the stats-based website I was using.
God damn it.
Michael,
Well, I was close.
England have qualified for the 2018 World Cup in Russia, but can you tell me which outfield player played the most amount of minutes for the Three Lions? And how many minutes they played also for... But if you get it wrong, I'll tell you who it was, like I did with Elias knew his was right. For guessing the minutes.
I'm gonna go with Cahill.
That's wrong.
Oh, brilliant! So that's right. I wanted
So
to
you've
try
lost that
then.
point. So the correct answer was Carl Walker, who of course didn't play the final game against Lithuania. But he
Oh,
played,
that's literally what I was. I just went back to the last game. I was like, "Who played?" That's probably let me down.
but can you tell me how many minutes he played?
803.
Come on, I wouldn't make it that hard. It's 810. He played 9 games for 90 minutes.
Your website is rubbish. Your website is yours just because we
agree,
played
I
that
agree.
game. That's 90.
Okay, yes. True.
So
It's my
rounding it-
website. I'm taking full credit.
Rounding it up or down, I'm still wrong, but I'm taking the point.
Okay, so Ellis, we're on to your tricks question, where there's only one answer, but if you get it correct, it's 2 points. So we actually, because Michael is on 2 points and Ellis is on 3, we cannot have a draw, which is excellent news for me, because I didn't have a bonus question
well, you
ready.
should-
Oh, it's only.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Sorry?
Really, to make it like interesting,
I should what?
you should
Start with
like,
me.
I'm not going to
Go
do
A
that.
B B B B A B B.
Well, then you don't need to ask Michael his question after this.
Oh, confident.
If I get it right, you see.
No, you have to get both yours right to.
Okay.
You have 2 trick questions.
What 2 trick was? I thought it was 1 question, 1 answer.
Oh, yeah,
2
me too.
points.
Okay.
This, no.
Get on with the game, Phil.
Okay. So, Joe Gordon sit third in the Allsvenskan, but who is their top scorer?
This season.
Yes.
Ooh. He scored against us, I think. It's... What's his last name?
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
I don't know. Gustav Engvall?
It's Magnus Eriksson, I'm afraid.
Oh, really? He's got an AOK tattoo on him.
He's got 14 goals this season.
Awkward.
So, good for him. Michael, your trick question, a chance to go back into the lead. Birmingham City and Aston Villa played out a 0-0 draw this weekend, of course, but have both made several signings this season. But can you tell me Aston Villa's record signing?
I'm trying. Oh, this is hard because I don't actually know the transfer fees of like any of them. So in my mind, I've got Codger.
It's meant to be hard because it's about your rivals, it's not about your
I know.
That's what's a trick, mate. It wouldn't be a treat, would it?
And
Stay.
maybe even like someone like Rudy Gusted. I don't know. I'm gonna go for Jedinak.
Well, it's Darren Bent, so...
Oh, sorry. That's cool.
Miles away.
There we go. I don't mind.
Hey, guess what? Elias, a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Remember, it's about your rivals, it's not about you. Last time Chelsea met Fulham in the Premier League was in 2014. Chelsea ran out 3-1 winners with an Andre Schürrle hat-trick. Can you tell me the name of the Fulham goal scorer?
Oh my lord. Fulham 2014. I'm trying to think who actually played. I know Berbatov was there 2014. That was like the last season.
Do you remember the game at all?
No idea. Can we get a can we get like a nationality or anything?
No.
I don't know. Same like Ross McCormack or something.
Ross McCormick. Is Johnny Heitinger.
Oh my! No, I would have never got that.
What?
So Michael,
What?
to win the game, I think you know this is going to be about, don't you? Borussia
Yeah.
Dortmund lost this weekend to Hanover 4-2 with Dan Axel Zagadou scoring and they're getting sent off. Who is the only other player to be sent off for Dortmund in the Bundesliga this season?
Like, I've got so many names in my head because I'm going to guess. So I'm going to throw the names out there just because I feel it could be either
He's doing
Socrates,
it like lie detector-ish. Like he's like,
Socrates,
trying to get a reaction.
Julian Weigl, or Mario Götze. I'm going to go for Julian Weigl.
Will you be mad if you mentioned one of the other ones and it was correct?
No!
Yes.
The correct answer is Socrates, and to lighten the mood, I'm going to try and pronounce his surname. Papastathopoulos against RB Leipzig.
Nah, I knew
Just
it was
just
gonna be
last
one of
week.
those two.
Just last week was it?
Was it
Or
last
the week before?
week?
Goodness me.
I think Schalke played on a Friday last week,
That
so
put
I
you out-
stopped paying attention.
Ran you out
so-
of town. We mentioned the game on the podcast, whether it was last week or not. I don't think it was last week actually. It might have been the week before. But we mentioned it on the podcast. So.
Oh, well.
Oh well. Good game though, guys. Well played. Congratulations, Elias, for a fantastic win.
Winning
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
Winning again. May the odds forever be in your favour, or whatever they say on that movie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're going to end the podcast right here with the MVP and Bleak this week's sections. Who wants to go first with the MVP?
I will go first, given that there was a really awkward silence. And my MVP this week is Damari Gray.
Ooh, nice one.
Pretty much steering Leicester to a 2-0 win and seizing the opportunity when given a start by Puel.
Nice. Well, you, Ellis, MVP?
Joe Hart, to be honest.
Oh,
I needed to give him that, because I just felt like he had probably the performance of his career in that game, and to not win it, but to rescue a point for West Ham is just, just insane to me.
well, I'm going to give mine to, it might be a surprising one, because I wanted to talk about him on this podcast, on this episode. We didn't quite get around to it, because we sort of talked about Chelsea long enough. But Eden Hazard, I think, is becoming very important to this Chelsea team, especially this season. So I'd like to give him my MVP, and perhaps we can talk about him specifically, perhaps next week, if he does anything good against Arsenal.
Hopefully.
Manchester United, sorry. We'll go back round the other way around the table, Ellis. You want to give us your Bleak this week, your Bleak this week pick?
That's a harder one, I think.
I think there are several candidates this week.
really?
Actually, I'm with Elias. I really found it tough to pick one this week.
Oh, okay.
If I would throw it out there, I would probably go for your pick, Antonio. Because as you said, it's just such a sloppy mistake to do in that. It cost them 2 points rather, and I just both the West Ham players for my MVP and my villain or whatever. Bleep.
What about you, Michael? You got your Bleak this week? Who was
Yeah,
Bleak
and
this week?
I'm making it sort of with a tenuous link to last week, because I think I gave my MVP last week to Poch
Ooh.
for his tactical prowess, and this week I'm going to give my Bleak this week to Poch, because I think he was really gullible, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, in starting Son alone up front again. And while you can credit Son for his performance against Liverpool, I don't think I don't think you should expect Mourinho not to do his research and realise that would be that the throwing it over the top for Son to run onto would be Tottenham's tactic. Tottenham pretty much attackingly shut out the game for that reason, and Llorente definitely should have been given an opportunity earlier in the game, i.e. starting, to make an impact at Tottenham, which he has yet to do so far. So I think that's down to Poch not really. He didn't have the balls to change the team around, apart from one key error, which was putting Dyer at centre back and taking Sanchez out. Obviously, we don't know the reasons behind that, but
I would have personally gone for Dyer, but that's because I Don't like it very much. But I'm going to take my biases out of it, and I'm going to give my bleep this week to Troy Deeney, just because of that incident. It's just a harrowing image, really. Just don't like the image at all.
Just overreacting, really.
It's just, I don't know. I just don't find it very savoury. And you compare it to his comments he was talking about Arsenal. I mean, some of the points were valid he made in that press conference, but I just don't think he came across as a very intelligent man, to be honest. But hey, I don't know the guy, and I'm sure he possibly is lovely. But hey, that's the end of that section. So there you go. Wow, what an episode, guys, eh?
What an episode.
Did you find it spooky in any way?
Yeah. Found it spooky with the jump scares coming out from my diaphragma.
In the Mixer Show at gmail.com. There's a jump scare for you, even though that's incorrect. It's actually in the Mixer Podcast at gmail.com. I mean, at in the Mixer Show on Twitter if you want to give us a follow there for any interesting things and do what that Sweet said. Follow us. Or any last minute additions, ladies and gentlemen. Even though you're both men.
We got a new member of the podcast. Welcome, me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be here for this week, I hope. Because my voice is probably better next week.
Okay. So the deep version of Elias will hopefully be gone, and the high-pitched, squeaky version will be back next week. Fingers crossed.
What about me?
What do you mean, what about you? I was coming to you.
Oh, just give me a special mention.
Patience is a virtue. Michael, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, go on then. Goodbye, listeners.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Did you guys want to plug your Twitters and other things if you wanted to? I don't know.
No, I'm not allowed.
People do that, so.
I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed. True.
No, because.
No, actually, yeah. I'll edit this bit out. Don't worry.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Michael, did you want? Ellis, did you want to?
No.
You didn't want to edit out your Twitch thing. Not that you probably get more viewers on your Twitch channel than we get in this podcast, I think, to be fair, but hey. Wow. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out this episode of the In the Mixer podcast. I've been Phil, your host. Ellis and Michael have been themselves, as usual. Excellent stuff, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming along. And we will catch you guys in the Mixer. Goodbye.
Just get it over with and done with. Tim Sherwood urges Luke Shaw and Danny Rose swap team.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the podcast episode, not going to lie.
Okay.
In Syria. Zlatan got... I'm looking this up, viewers. I'll possibly have to edit this out. In fact, I will have to edit this out because it's not coming up. AIK's main rivals are... How do you pronounce it, Elias? Before I go into this and embarrass myself. Djurgården, which is what I thought it was.
Bye.
I need to edit out that bite you do at the end of every fucking episode because it's awful.
It's great! So, in between one of the questions, I went to look up the Ingolstadt result because I didn't believe you. And you were actually right!
So
I was like, nah.
Of course I was right. I wasn't going to give you the wrong thing. This isn't Dario Serna Part 2. I can't remember. You might have done, actually. Wait, what were your answers? I'll compare your answers to Michael and Alice's.
I accidentally said Higuain played for Schalke at one point.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You did say Higuain played for Schalke. That was impressive. And optimistic. I'm tempted to put... There's a picture of Garth Crooks in the chat.